God, that was hard.
Hello everyone and welcome to another video and another track, because today we're going to run through a lactate threshold heart rate test, and we're going to talk through how you can utilize one, how you can utilize the training zones to optimize your training from a heart rate point of view. A lot of questions about how I implement heart rate considerations in my training, how I manage them, and then how you can too, really. So let's cover that today. So what have we done? We've brought along a test subject.
Hey, I'm Stephanie, otherwise known as the guinea pig of the video.
Yes, that's pretty much it. So Steph is a Gymshark athlete, better known as Nutty Foodie Fitness, because she's nutty, eats a lot of food, and is actually very, very good at fitness.
Hey, somewhat into fitness.
So we will see how she gets on today, but the brief is lactate threshold heart rate test, 30 minutes max effort. For those that don't know, the 20 minutes at the end, you take your average heart rate and the average pace, and that basically gives you your lactate threshold, pacing zones, heart rate zones, and then you can use that data to inform what you do next. Steph has just started her journey to Ironman training, hasn't got a date in the diary just yet, but I am pestering her big time to get one booked. Get some skin in the game, as it were, and then the fear begins and you have to really ramp up your training, otherwise you will have a bad time on race day. So this should be really useful for her training moving forwards. We'll take you through it from both our perspectives so that you can hopefully take lessons from whatever end of the spectrum you're at, whether you're training for an Ironman, whether you're just a recreational runner, or whether you're wanting to improve across the board. Whatever it is, this is a good test, and we believe it's more valuable than a max heart rate testing zone because it is a little bit more accurate. Max heart rate testing is very, very hard to do unless you're in a lab setting. So if you're a competent enough runner to put out a 30-minute max effort test, this is the one to do. But it's about 2 degrees.
I can feel it.
So I'm going to get some gloves on and we're going to get warmed up, and then we will basically get to work and then do a bit of a debrief afterwards on how you can analyse the data, what you can do with it, and how you can implement it moving forward. So any last words?
Let's get it!
That'll do, that'll do.
Woo.
Chilly. 30 minutes max effort. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. 7.63k done. Oh, what was pace? Pace was 3:56 per k. I'll take it. Not my best ever, but I'll take it. Oh. Oh.
Holy shit, that was hard. That was hard. Apparently I can run okay. Shit. I was aiming for an average pace of 4 minutes 30, which Fergus said to me in the car should be, you know, pretty tough, but he thought I could do it. And I thought he was mad. I thought I was gonna do about 4:45, or well, 4:40 maybe. I averaged 4:15. Holy shit. Bloody hell. That was hard. That was hard.
It's such a false sense of security. Like 15 minutes in, you're like, yeah, cruising, son. And then boom, just like, oh, it hurts. And then it's mind games. You would just make a decision then, are you gonna hold on, or are you gonna scale back?
Yeah. I laughed at myself at the start. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I running behind Fergus? I realised he's an elite athlete, and then I was like, hold on a second, drop.
What did you finish at, pace-wise?
4:15.
Nice, nice, well done.
I was not expecting that at all.
So what was that, 7.1k or something?
7, yeah, just about 7:07.
Class. So, I think because it's so windy here, we'll debrief on the details at the car just so we've got a bit more cover, because we don't even know if you can hear us right now. But I also want the 5-minute walk to the car to get my breath back, because goodness gracious, I am gobbed. See you at the car. Okay, so breath regained.
Just about?
Just about, yeah, just about. Although we did have to hop the fence and nearly got impaled, which was a bit ropey on the way back over with fatigue in legs, but we have survived, you'll be pleased to hear. So, lactate threshold heart rate test. You're wondering, what is the point in that? That looks horrible. It was, and there is a point behind it.
It really was. Let me just say, it's awful. It's as awful as it sounds.
So, the premise is, you take the average heart rate from the final 20 minutes, and then that is your lactate threshold heart rate. And then what you do is you establish zones based off of that. So what I'm gonna do is read them out, but I will also put the data zones on the screen for you here and just keep them there so you can have a look. So running zones, zone 1 is less than 85% of your lactate threshold heart rate. I'm just going to say that once and then say percentages. Zone 2 is 85 to 89%, and that's where you should spend most of your time on long, steady runs. So you've probably been going too fast in... No, actually, the heart rates I've been seeing are probably about spot on, actually.
Yeah, steady.
Zone 3, which is sub-threshold, is 90 to 94%. Zone 4, sorry, 90 to 94% is tempo. Zone 4, which is sub-threshold, is 95 to 99%. Then Zone 5A, this is where we get into redlining territory, is 100 to 102%. Zone 5B is 103 to 106. And then Zone 5C, strange pronunciation. Zone 5C is more than 106%, and that is full-on hell for leather, send and hope for the best. So I came in at, again, data on the screen for you just here, my average heart rate came in at 179 for the final 20 minutes, which is quite high, actually higher than the last time I did this test. So it shows I've got a higher tolerance for it. There was a bit of wind, it was cold, so there's a few things going on. But nonetheless, that means that, for example, zone 2 for me would be between 152 and 159 for my zone 2 now. So any aerobic work I'm going to be doing is in the 150 to 160 range, more or less. So that means that if I'm going out on a 3-hour run on a Saturday, that means that I would then spend most of my time in zone 2 to keep it aerobic, so that the training stimulus is specific to the task at hand, and that is how we then establish zones. So if I'm going out a tempo run, we put me in the tempo heart rate zone. I'll put a link to an article from Training Peaks about Joe Friel's guide on this in the description down below, so that if you want to read on it, do the test yourself and apply the data through a training software, then that is the place to go. But your average heart rate was
174.
And you felt like that was a full-on best effort, best you could have managed, you think?
I think I went too hard at the beginning, because I obviously started off with Fergus and then realised he is an elite athlete, so then toned it down a little bit.
There was a point I thought, she's on my tail for quite a long time
Yeah, I was
now.
like, I need to just rein it in. But otherwise, I feel like I was quite steady throughout.
You were really steady, actually,
it's not that I suddenly started going like way faster or way slower at any point. It was quite...
And the main thing as well, looking like as we were crossing, was form held out well. You weren't flapping about or anything, like you held it pretty strong.
Hopefully not.
Well, no, because that's what, if you go too hard too soon, in the final 5 minutes, you could just be collapsing, your form could be breaking down, and your heart rate will skyrocket and your pace will drop. So you held it really well. For somebody that hasn't done any interval or speed work, I'd say that's a pretty good job.
Thank you.
Nice
There's
work.
potential. There's
Yeah,
potential.
no, there's more than potential, I'd say. There's a real good Ironman time sitting here, which is exciting. So, from a practical point of view, if Steph was now to go away and, let's say, do intervals on a Monday, a tempo or a sub-threshold run on a Wednesday, and then a long run on the weekend, on a Monday, we would be looking to take your data, so 174, and it'd be around basically zone 5 or above, so anything above 100%. So if you're doing 1200 meters, you'd be looking for each rep to be coming in around 100% or above. If Steph was then to go out on a tempo or sub-threshold run mid-week, she'd be looking to be between 90 to 99%, so that would be 174 times 0.9, so between 156 to 173 basically. So that is the range where steady tempo work or tempo reps, like around the 8 to 12 minute mark for repeated intervals, tempo intervals, that kind of becomes half marathon pace, more or less. So then you can actually look and analyze these zones and plan out your training with different training stimuluses week by week, so that you can map it out: intense here, moderate here, easy here. And then you've always got the definition of easy in the numbers rather than how it feels. Because some days, if you feel fresh and go out on an easy run, you might come back and you're like, oh, actually I was sitting in zone 3 for most of that, and you've been working too hard. That might make you really tired for the following week, and then it catches up with you there. So that's how things can be applied.
Is that what you recommend then for like someone that's running in a week, to do like one easy, one moderate and one hard?
I'd say for 99% of people, you can make an awful lot of progress just doing that for a long time, and then incrementally building volume, building intensity as you go.
Noted.
So the way I do it generally still, even now, is Mondays will be my intervals on my feet at the track. Wednesdays will be sub-threshold or tempo reps or steady work, as it is for a lot of our athletes with Omnia. And then Saturdays or Sundays will be long, easy aerobic runs between 145 to 160 heart rate. But that's actually going to be a bit higher now because my zone 2 is a little bit elevated. So I appreciate that's a lot of information. There's been stuff flying about the screen. We've had a guinea pig show a bit of a comparison, although our heart rates came in at similar paces. So the other thing that's important to mention is you have pacing zones that come from this as well. So that's why if you use the article down below from Training Peaks, which is the software that I track my training in, you can apply your heart rate results with the distance covered, and it can give you pacing zones as well. So your zone 3 pacing will be between 4 minute per K and 4:30 minute per K. So if you're wanting to work off pacing and you want to work in a range, that's another way you can do things. Main thing to mention is there's quite a few ways to skin this proverbial cat that is training effectively, and there are lots of ways that you can go about it. This is one of the ways that you can test yourself and use that information to move forwards. 220 minus age to establish max HR is good for beginners, because obviously it's quite a difficult task just going out and running for half an hour. But once you get to the position where you can do that, as you've now got to, it's a much more accurate and much more reliable test to do than 220 minus age. If you've got access to a VO2 max testing center and you can truly go RPE 10, then a max HR testing and heart rate based off that is great as well. But how many of us really have access to that? Let's be honest. So,
do you know what your VO2 max is, out of
no,
curiosity?
I haven't done it in ages. And also, the Garmin VO2 max thing, ignore that.
Don't ignore that, because I have a watch that said that my VO2 max is in the 1% of females, so let's not ignore that.
Good for Instagram. It's good for Instagram stories, but for actual information, it's pretty useless. So I think that's pretty much it. That's been a bit of a death by information overload. Obviously, if you have any questions, please do drop them in the comments down below. Hopefully that's given some context on how you can use lactate threshold heart rate zone training in your training. I'll elaborate on this in the next few weeks' videos when I'm doing aerobic work, interval work or steady work, just so you've got a bit more context in each session that comes. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the video, comment down below, and make sure that you have subscribed. Steph has travelled all the way up from North London via Luton, which is never a nice experience.
No, it's really not.
So I think for that alone, you should 100% subscribe.
Yeah.
Any final words?
Do you know what? I think that it'd be quite interesting for us to redo this in about 6 months' time and just like see
Agreed.
the progression.
Agreed.
So if you want that, comment part 2.
There you go. That's all we have to say.
And stay low, my friends.
See you next time.
Bye.